Hey, it's Joseph here. Today we are looking at this product over here, Sennheiser MKE 200. Not specifically this camera, but perhaps the thing above, which is the microphone. And this product was released quite a long time ago. I was interested in checking it out, however, I never got around doing so. Therefore, I purchased it so that I can test it out myself to see if it would be beneficial for my purpose. And whilst doing so, why not make a video out of it so that you guys could learn about this product as well as my findings based on my testings. So let's have a look around the box. On the front, we've got this nice picture of a camera that I don't have. I believe this is a Sony camera of some sort, and Sennheiser with the logo, MKE 200 directional microphone. The contents include microphone, furry windshield, or sometimes called dead cats, and 3.5mm TRS to TRS cable for DSLR mirrorless cameras and field recorders, and 3.5mm TRS to TRRS cable for smartphones so that it is a 4-pole versus 3-pole, and then the pouch, quick guide, safety guide, technical data, supercardioid type of pickup pattern, and then the frequency response is 40 to 20,000 hertz, and maximum SPL is 120 decibel SPL. Dimensions are 69 by 60 by 39 millimeters. Weight is just 48 grams. So with all of those technical specs aside, let's go around to the other side. So here are the introduction of all the MKE series that Sennheiser makes. Basically a shotgun microphone that they have. I guess it is sort of a marketing jargon, but the notable things are the fact that the MKE 200 has built-in shock absorption and wind protection, and that's actually something that I am after. So on the back side, in English, it tells you directional microphone for isolated and enhanced in-camera audio, compact design with sleek and stylish finish, integrated wind protection and internal suspension mount to minimize handling noise. Yep, that is what I'm after. And some of the cables and the standard cold shoe mount for universal use, and then the battery-free operation. And it kind of shows you the picture of the integrated shock mount to reduce handling noise. So there were a couple of things that I was looking for through this microphone. Was the fact that it is battery free. I don't want to fiddle with microphone battery running out in the middle of the shoot and such, and for it to be lightweight and small form factor. And that actually comes in part with having the integrated suspension mount for the shock absorption as well as the wind, and then for it to be somewhat professional looking so that it is not so in your face. And as you can see, it is, kind of muted color, so it doesn't really stick out. And I kind of like the blue color wire. It is sort of my color. I don't know if you have noticed, but yeah. And obviously, because this is a microphone, I'm looking for a audio quality that it captures to be somewhat matching of the current microphones that I use, or perhaps even better would be a plus. So I'll test all of that out later. However, let's go ahead and open it so that I can see the contents. Sennheiser is really well known for their audio quality, so kind of trust their brand in that regard, but I actually never owned any of their devices, so this is my very first time checking out their device. Over here we see the microphone, and here we got a diagram for the overall setup. Slide the microphone onto the camera and then plug it into your microphone, and then the microphone jack on your camera. Basically simple stuff. And under that paper is a couple of paperwork, I guess, giving your feedback, as well as some paper manual along with possibly warranty package, quick guide sort of things. I'm probably not gonna get through that right now. And then here is a little pouch for you to carry around microphone. Good quality, I would say. You can just tie it nicely, especially when you're carrying around the dead cat or this fluffy wind muff. You don't want to leave this in your bag alone because you get this fur everywhere inside of your bag. So I would typically put this in a pouch so that it doesn't get everywhere. And by the way, the furry wind muff is quite nice quality. It has a little rubber band inside, so it kind of stretches, and then you can just put it onto the microphone. But it is already shedding some furs onto my desk. I don't know if you can see it over here. So I'm gonna just seal it in the bag so that I don't get furs everywhere. And then here is my favorite color cable, and it does have this knurled knob. I guess you just kind of tighten that around the microphone. I perhaps could have purchased this microphone for just the cable colors. And there are two of them because one is for the smartphone, as it is noted here, and the other one will be for DSLR cameras, which is a 3-pole or TRS type of connection here. You can kind of tell by just looking at this. You can just count this 1 2 3 1 2 3. So this is a TRS or 3-pole connection, whereas if you were to look at over here, it is a 1 2 3 3-pole TRS connection. So that goes onto your microphone. However, you can count 4 of the metal portion over here, 1 2 3 4. Therefore, this is a TRRS meant for your smartphone. For my purpose, I'm going to be using on a camera, which is actually the one that you are seeing the top-down view from. So I'll get this connected later. And here is the microphone. Simple stuff. You got the hot shoe mount or cold shoe mount for that matter, because it is not actually connected to anything, but yeah, you can just use that knob, and it is very light. It is a plastic construction, which I don't mind because I rather handle around something lighter than heavy, but it does seem quite quality plastic. It doesn't feel as plasticky, and I really like the fact that the shock absorption is all encased within this capsule. And then I guess you can just put this onto the front of the microphone and then tighten that to make sure it doesn't get unplugged whilst you are using it. So that is tightened, therefore you can't really pull it out at this point. And what I'm kind of wondering is the fact that the cable is shooting out to the front of the microphone instead of the back or the side. I guess that is sort of a choice that they have made. I don't mind either way, but yeah, it is interesting. Anyways, on the back you can see it says Sennheiser MKE 200, the model name for it. And on the side you see the logo as you have seen before. And as I have mentioned, on the front you got the cable that is right angled, and then it just sticks out like that. Now that the box is out of the way, this is the time that I'm gonna mention why I was so interested in this product over some of the microphones that I already own. Obviously, I mentioned the compact form factor because I didn't want to carry around something so big, because on my vlogging setup or if I'm on a travel, I don't want to fiddle with a large thing that is sitting on my camera. I like things a bit more compact so I can easily carry around, as well as it not requiring a battery charge. I guess in general, the ones that are battery operated are much better in quality. However, I guess I'm okay sacrificing a little bit of quality because I do feel that I get decent quality out of non-battery operated microphones. So this kind of qualifies that. But the number one reason, not the cable color, which is something that I do like, was the fact that everything is encapsulated into this cylinder here. There's no moving parts that is going to be dangling around, and this is what I mean. So this is a Rode VideoMicro. It was cheaper than this microphone. However, it does have this shock absorption method. It is kind of connected around this plastic so that it avoids capturing all the handling noise of the camera. If you don't have this and the microphone is directly attached to your camera, then every time you just kind of bump the camera, all of that dunk sound is going to transfer onto the microphone. Basically, basically is like the sound that you get out of tapping onto the microphone, and you don't want to do that. Basically, they have separated the microphone off the camera so that you don't have all of that noise and all the shakes. But the problem is it kind of dangles a lot, and then when you mount it onto the camera itself, it's kind of awkward to put your camera in anywhere like a bag or something like that, because then now you're all pressed up against on inside of the bag, and what if the plastic snaps? I mean, yeah, it's gonna take some force because it is quite flexible, but after some time it can actually break with some force. And I've seen that happen to other people, and I don't want that happening to me. Having all of this plastic out that is kind of fiddly and sticking out everywhere, there wasn't any way to nicely fold and away into your bag. So that was one of the things that I was so concerned of. And obviously you can take the microphone off of the mount and then basically pack it nicely. However, I don't want to do that every time I pack away my camera. It kind of goes against the idea of carrying something compact. So that was the problem number one that I'm trying to solve by going onto this microphone here, because everything is all encased in this capsule rather, so that if I put it inside the bag, nothing really is going to bump around and then break, because this is all wholesome thing. And another area to cover is the wind muff. This is a third-party foam that I have purchased to put it on top of here. So I guess this is a raw end of the microphone, and there's zero protection against wind. So if you ever do shoots outside where there's a little bit of wind, then it is going to get absorbed and it makes that whoosh sound. And that's why you want to have this foam on there at the least, so that you don't have the wind blowing into the microphone making that wind noise. And if the wind is greater, then you want to put that furry cat or dead cat or furry windshield on there. However, as I have mentioned, I don't like it shedding hair everywhere, and also it is a bit troublesome because it is bigger than the size of the microphone too. I'll just avoid wind altogether. And sometimes if I'm talking really close to the microphone, I may be blowing air, and also there may be occasional wind that happens interior of the space, such as a fan or AC, something like that. Therefore, I want to avoid those instances at least, and I just put the foam on top of that to avoid that, and it basically takes care of that. However, at least the Sennheiser claims that all of that is all built into the cylinder, which is something that I like. Yeah, it looks simple, and it is simple. Sorry, that was quite a long talk session there, but here is the setup that I would like to carry around. Let me get a tripod for this too. And here's a very simple tripod from Manfrotto. I have shown this several times on my channel. And then here is a FileCam quick release that I have also showcased on my channel, and there is a plate right there, and then I just mount it like so, and it just mounts there very securely. So I can just angle it however I want to. If I want to kind of face myself, then I can just rotate it like so, and then just look at the camera, which works perfectly. And this is Canon M6, which is a small form factor mirrorless DSLR, but it also has a problem of the flippy screen that goes onto the top. Therefore, you can't really mount the microphone on top here, but it has a flippy up screen where basically if you mount a microphone on top, it blocks all the image that comes out of the camera. Basically covers everything. It's not really feasible, and you can't even flip it all the way up. So that is an inherent problem of this camera form factor, which I kind of mentioned a few times on my channel as well. I guess people prefer the screen to be out, but I don't know. This is good enough for me, and I got this bracket from Small Rig, which I also have showcased before on the channel. Links in the description. And I basically mounted the microphone onto the side of the camera, and you can basically release it by just turning this So you can basically mount any sort of microphone in there. And I specifically chose this microphone from Movo. It is called DoubleMic, and it allows for you to capture both front and back. So when I'm talking to the camera this way, then I can switch it so that it captures only from the front. And then if I'm talking from behind the camera, because I'm capturing something to show you, and I can switch it over to this microphone so that I can talk and show you at the same time, and it is not capturing any sound from the front, rather just from the back. Or if you want to talk and capture the front at the same time, I can do that by switching a little switch that is over here so that it captures from both front and back, which is very useful. But because of all of these things that are dangling on here, I've been finding it somewhat troublesome to pack away this setup into my backpack, because if I do, then it's gonna knock over this microphone and things may break or it just get caught on something. And there's not really a good way to rest my camera anywhere, because you don't want to do this and put unnecessary force onto here. So I always have to just kind of lean it like this, and it just kind of rolls over and it just starts to put force on here again. So it's really not any handling friendly, if you will. So hopefully that microphone solves this problem. So I'm just gonna unplug this microphone and then switch over to Sennheiser. So I guess this is the front, so you would mount it like so, and then just turn the knob around so that it sticks out to the side. And I can just route the cable to the back so that it is much easier to connect. And then, yep, it just mounted onto the camera very cleanly. So there is no sort of dangly bits, it is just securely mounted in there. I guess the cable is something that you are going to see, however you can just kind of route it differently so that it doesn't dangle or get caught on things as much, but I'm fine to accept that. How's it look? And because it's a big black thing, I guess it seems somewhat bigger, but I would say that is pretty well packed in there. And I like the fact that things are flush. So even if I were to take out the tripod, I can still lay this flat and the camera is going to stand on its own, because it has this feet for the quick release and nothing is pushing further down. However, when I had this type of microphone onto the side, actually it was pushing up against this arm here and it wouldn't stand on its own. So that is actually good. And even if I were to do a vlog style of shooting, I can still put it down flat like so, because it is not putting a lot of force that is going to put onto the arm of the microphone. Yeah, I can just resort to this. Yeah, it is much easier to handle. So I guess the other part is trying out the audio quality of this microphone. So let's start with this one and then perhaps compare it to these two that are very similar form factor. Okay, so now you are hearing the sound from Sennheiser MKE 200. The camera is sitting about 2 feet away from me, typical vlog style fashion, and you are hearing the sound from Sennheiser MKE 200. How does it sound like? It is going to avoid some sound away from the back because it is a super cardioid pickup pattern. Therefore, if I were to reverse it, then you're going to hear much less sound because I'm talking to the back of the microphone. So I may have to up the gain just so that you guys could hear what is going on. But that is sort of the sound isolation it is having. And I'm going to bump the camera a little bit just to test whether the handling sound is being picked up by the microphone or not. And a little bit of wind too. How does that sound? Switching over. Okay, now I have switched over to the microphone that I had been using, which is a Movo DoubleMic, and it is currently set so that it is picking up the sound from the front and the back. So this is what it sounds like. Microphone testing, 1 2 3 1 2 3, Movo DoubleMic, and speaking about 2 feet away from the camera. And it is picking up from the both sides. I'm gonna switch over to the front. So this is just picking up the sound from the front. It may have a bit more clarity because it is not picking up as much sound from the back, but I'm gonna switch over to the back, the rear side. The rear side is now on and it is not picking up from the front. Therefore, I'm just kind of talking this way where I am showing you something and talking from the back. So it must be a lot more clearer this way to speak behind the camera. But then if I were to go around this to the front, then it's not really going to make much sense. So let me switch back to the front. And this is a microphone testing of Movo DoubleMic that I have been using. And the sound, if I were to touch the camera, and a bit of handling sound by hitting the camera a little. And this one has that problem that I had mentioned. I can't lay this flat because it's gonna put too much force on here. And I also can't really lay this flat because now this thing is gonna sit like that because this is pushing the camera up. Anyways, let me switch over to the next microphone. Okay, so now I have connected Rode VideoMicro, which is a one that I kind of modified a bit, which I have put the third-party foam on, as well as changing out the cable because I didn't want red cable on my camera, just to be more subtle. But yeah, now I'm speaking to Rode VideoMicro in the same distance, and this is a microphone testing of Rode VideoMicro and in the same distance. And how does that sound in terms of the sound quality? And then also I'm gonna bump the camera a little bit just to kind of see what kind of sound transfer we have, and bump the microphone. And then how's the wind isolation? And also, yeah, if I were to turn it around, it's not picking up as much from the back, therefore it's gonna be much more difficult for you to hear me since I am speaking from the back of the camera. There's not really an easy way to flip the microphone around. And as you have seen, if I were to lay this flat, it's gonna start pushing up against this plastic frame over here, so I don't feel safe doing so. You can do that, but it is putting force on it. I don't like it. So all I was trying to say is the fact that this one sits much nicer with the camera than this kind of shock mount system. So if the sound quality proves, then I'm quite sold on this. I'll be able to hear that out during the edit, and you'll be able to hear that too. So hopefully you have kind of heard the differences, and I'll just put down some of my thoughts down here. So if the sound quality basically match each other, at least to my ear, then I'm quite sold on this one. So I guess the only other thing to talk about is the price of this microphone, because I do know that this is about $100 and it is more expensive than Rode VideoMicro, which is the smallest microphone that they have. And then I don't know the pricing for this, so let me actually tell you. So the Movo DoubleMic is going for $40 on Amazon, so it is quite a cheap one. I guess it is less than half of the price of this microphone. So in terms of the price, yeah, this is going to be much more expensive. However, it does have that additional feature of being able to pick up the sound from both front and back. So it does have that nifty feature. However, for me, the deal breaker is the shock mount. I bet this is not going to be 2 times better sounding than this one. However, I have that additional functionality of it being more compact and easier handling than this type of microphones. So I'm gonna have to hear the sounds in the edits, but I'm quite sold on it so far, even if I have to spend twice as much as these microphones. And plus, I do think it looks quite good. What do you guys think? So yeah, and I can easily put down my camera and talk to you. If you have any questions regarding this microphone, please leave it down in a comment. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And also, if you have found this video to be useful, hearing the sound differences and some of my thoughts regarding how this microphone works, and I think it's gonna work quite well. And I can basically put this inside of my bag a lot easier than what I could have with the other type of microphones. So yeah, if you found this video useful, please like this video and consider subscribing to my channel to continue watching these type of videos. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you next time. Bye.